Ross Levy as we celebrate him and bless him and install him tonight as our assistant rabbi here at Congregation Kol Ami in West Hollywood. Lisa?
Ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la la ya la la
Let's take a deep breath in and welcome Shabbat. Fill our lungs with the presence of the Holy One who blesses us and greets us as well on this Sabbath Eve. And so let us then let out our breath as we sing Havana Shira, Shir Hallelujah. Let us sing together, sing Hallelujah. How'd I do? Screen change? Havana Shira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. 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 As the seasons are changing, we can feel it. It's dark now. We bring light into our world and our lives through lighting Sabbath candles. Such an honor to welcome Rabbi Levy's family to light our Shabbat candles. Randy, Ronnie, you'll come forward. If you're at home and you're using Mishkan Tefillah, you can follow along in our Flipboard version at ccarnet.org. And for those of us in the sanctuary, of course, the prayers, if I can do this right. Nope, I didn't do it right. How'd I do? Carolyn, okay. Yep. Yep, hold it really close though, right? There you go.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
O source of light and strength, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav Shel Shabbat, Shel Shabbat. Blessed are you who commands us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, welcome. And to help us tonight with our Kiddush, we have, as I said, much to celebrate. Three who have been studying over the last probably 16 months to become Jewish are with us tonight as we celebrate them. So I'd like to invite Matthew Rayburns, Carlos Colon, and Dora Rodas to come forward. They've all been to the mikvah this week to help us with the Kiddush, page 123 if you're using the prayer book at home. And I'll try and do this. How'd I do? I went the wrong way? Okay, somebody should help me here because the rabbi's a little autistic here. How is this? Okay. If you'll each take a cup, we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Hashabbat lechaim. You all can pull your mask and take a sip if you want. And we're going to invite Matthew and Carlos and Dora to join us in front of the ark. Come see her, Matthew. Hold it against. There you go.
It's like holding a baby.
Got it? Okay, come stand next to Carlos right here. Beautiful. Okay, stay right here. I have to get my paperwork. Too many pieces of work tonight. How you doing there, Matt? You know, if you drop the Torah, you have to fast for 40 days, so you don't want that to be one of your first things as a Jew. I know, it's wrong. Welcome to the club. It's been a long journey for the three of you, a lifetime journey. Our tradition teaches that the Jewish soul was already in you, but your studies, your hard work, your essays, your journals, your love, your compassion, your commitment to joining the people Israel was evident from the start. How blessed we are, the people Israel, to welcome the three of you this week, your first Shabbat as part of the Jewish people. How blessed we are to have your gifts, your talents, your knowledge, to join with the strength of our ancestors past and those yet who will stand at Mount Sinai in years to come. The words in the Torah are your story now. They are your ethics, your values. Hold the Torah close to your heart always. Use it for sustenance and strength. And bless each and every day how blessed you are, how blessed we are. I ask you each these sacred questions as you enter the eternal covenant between God and the Jewish people and the children of Israel. Do you choose to become a Jew of your own free will? Do you accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religions, faith, and practices? Do you pledge your loyalty to Judaism and the Jewish people under all circumstances? Do you promise to establish a Jewish home and participate actively in the life of the synagogue and the Jewish community? And do you commit yourself to the pursuit of Torah and Jewish knowledge? And if you are blessed with children, will you rear them as Jews? We ask this blessing upon the three of you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May the Shekhinah smile upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Holy One of blessing grant to you, Dora, and Carlos and Matthew, lives of happiness and wholeness and health, and a very ancient gift of peace in your heart, in your homes, and in our world. And we say, Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be God's will.
Amen.
Stay here. They've each chosen Hebrew names, and Matthew has chosen Asher Rachamim. I think this is yours. Carlos has chosen Chaim, and Dora has chosen Devorah. May you wear your names well. Mazel tov to each of you. Mazel tov. Check that I made the right one. I think I got the right one. I can tell. Nope. This is his. This is yours. This is yours. You can go sit. That's yours. I know that's yours. Be careful. Come and get him. Mazel tov. How'd I do? Did I do it right? Okay. Okay, you've welcomed the Levies. You've welcomed our newest members of the tribe, and it's time to welcome Shabbat as we sing together Lechado D, page 138.
Shamo v'zachor b'dibor echad Yishmi'anu el ha'miluchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shemo tiferet v'letzirah Lechadodi Likrat kala Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh v'machshava tchila lecha dodi Kabbalah.
We rise together to greet Shabbat.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala.
It's our custom to turn and greet one another. Good Shabbos. Introduce yourselves. You might not know who's behind that mask. Shabbat Shalom at home. We're so glad you're here. Glad each and every week with Congregation Kol Ami.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone watching from home. Josh, if you're out there. Shabbat
Why don't
Shalom,
you text
Risa, if
somebody
you're
at
watching,
home?
and Chris and Margot and Audrey. It's past your bedtime, though.
Friends, we come together as we praise God with the words of the Baruch Hu, page 146.
Please stay standing.
We remain standing for the Baruch Hu.
Yeah.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Please be seated. And we join together in the Ma'ariv Baravim, a prayer that ends and separates and recognizes God as creator and day from night. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom u'mevi layla, uma'avdil bein yom u'bein layla, Adonai tziva'ot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. As we come to the Shema, I just want us to take a minute to think of Jews in ancient days and kind of fast forward through Jewish history to the present and realize that we are linked to them. Some of the things we do might look a little different here or there, but we do have one long, continuous history together. And by the way you stay involved and connected and observe Jewish life, you will ensure that we will have a future as the Jewish people. And so as we prepare ourselves to recite the Shema prayer, remember that you stand in a long chain of history, a chain of strength, a chain not of imprisonment, but an anchor to hold on to when times are difficult. And it will anchor you in times of joy like tonight. So as we stand as one community together and sing out these anxious words of affirmation, affirming God's oneness and our connection with that God, we think of that chain of tradition tonight.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto,
Let us be seated and chant together the Via Hafta, page 154, for those of you who are following along online. Via Hafta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavcha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol meodecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha b'derech, uv'shoftecha uv'kumecha, uv'kshartam leot ayadecha, v'hayu totafot b'neinecha, uv'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. There's always something to cross over, somewhere on our journey, a bridge, a trestle, a hurdle in life. And as we sing Mi Chamocha, remember that we made it safely to the other side. And so let it inspire you when you have that hurdle and you know you need the strength to jump it. Mi Chamocha, just as our ancestors did. We turn, if you are following in the prayer book, on 158.
חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Part of being free and enjoying the redemption that comes after crossing the Red Sea is the joy that comes with freedom and the joy that we get to experience here tonight. I've seen a lot of clapping, a lot of dancing, and I want to encourage that, to live in the joy. We sometimes, especially over the past 2 years, We struggle to find those joys in our lives, so please embrace it, embrace this moment. We continue with Yismechu v'malchutcha. Those who keep Shabbat shall call it a delight and shall rejoice.
Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, borei onei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, borei onei Shabbat. Mekadeshei shemi Shabbat, kulam yismechu Shabbat, Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, borei onei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, borei onei Shabbat.
Ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat, chemdat yamin, tokarat Shabbat.
Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, borei onei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat,
Borei oneg Shabbat.
Amidah is that time that we can have to be one with God, to say what we need to say, to challenge or be angry. It's okay. So we stand together, either turning to the words of our prayer book. If you'd like to use the prayer book, those of you who are in the sanctuary for traditional words, well, those begin on page 164. We'll open together and then invite you to have a few moments of silent private prayer. But if you'd like to have your own words with God, have your own words with God too. We rise together.
Adonai Sfatai Tivtah, Adonai Sfatai Tivtah, Ufi Yadi Tehilatecha, Ufi Yadi Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tivtah, Adonai Sfatai Tivtah, Ufi Yadi Tehilatecha, Ufi Yadi Tehilatecha.
We invite you to silent prayer, to be seated as you're through 181.
words for you, Liratzon, that conclude the Amidah can be found on page 180. Yehiyu Liratzon, Imrefi, Vehegyon Libi Lefanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegohali, Vegohali. With our prayers, both public and communal and personal, still resonating within us, we now turn our minds and our hearts towards those who may be in need of healing, whether it be healing of mind, healing of body, or healing of spirit. At this time, the Kol Ami community is thinking of John Altschul, Vicky Beard, Richard Bernard, Don Bernstein, Robert Cantrell, Jared Chambers, Jeannie Cole, Olga Drucker, Tino Felipe, Dorothy Gibson Anderson, Lynette Graves, Timothy Hawks, Don Hollis, Christopher Hughes, Madeline Kent, Jeffrey Lehman, Ellen Lank, Russell Kirschenbaum, Jeff Mackler, Deshaun McLean, Lauren Ostro, Tammy Rabowski, Ben Reback, Howard Romanoff, Ivan Rosenberg, Judy Rosenberg, Lowell Selvin, Michael Simmental, Henry Sommerfeld, Kathy Weiss, Eitan Wolf, Nancy Wortman, David Ben Herschel Vabasha, and Sarit Bat Ilana. To these names, we add those of your loved ones. I invite you to share them. If you're joining us online, in the comments section on Facebook or on YouTube, and those of you here in person, I invite you to share their names so that we can offer this healing energy that we've gathered here tonight. And for all of these, we offer prayers for refuah shlema, for complete and total healing, or even just a step towards the right direction, a step towards healing. We continue with our prayer for healing, the Misha Berach on page 371. Misha Berach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless those before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you for such great music tonight, to our musicians and to Rabbi Levy. A little bit more to come around that, but it's my privilege and honor to invite a member of our executive committee and the chair of the search committee that brought Rabbi Levy to us, Andrew Stein. I don't know where you're sitting, Andrew. Oh, there you are. Andrew, would you join us and share a few words? Yeah, you can come here. You don't need this. It's an ongoing issue at Kol Ami. Yeah. Wait. Don't go anywhere. I'm getting a signal that I'm not doing my job. Travis, do we have sound at the podium?
I'm delighted to be here tonight with you. Tonight has been a year in the making. Last October, we spoke about the possibility that we might need to find a new assistant rabbi. And I don't know if I volunteered or was voluntold, but somehow I became the chair of the search committee. Okay, I volunteered. I didn't realize what I was getting into. So at any rate, a friend of mine, when she heard about this, said, well, what do you do? Go to Indeed.com, or how do you find a rabbi? I told her there was a new app, and you swipe right if you want that rabbi, and left if not. But seriously, the process was handled through the Central Conference of American Rabbis, which is over 2,000 rabbis in North America, and our own Rabbi Egger was president of the CCAR at one time. So I emailed them and immediately received a slew of materials, most of it which did not apply to us. But we met the board and then the search committee. I want to acknowledge them. Lauren Ostro, Evan Rollins, Leonard Slutsky, Nancy Cohn, and the president of our board, Peter Mackler, and of course Rabbi Egger. And we weren't sure exactly what we wanted, so we decided that we would cross-list the position with the American Association of Cantors. We weren't sure exactly what we wanted, and Rabbi and I spoke about casting a wide net and seeing what was out there. We got a tremendous amount of applications from HUC, and in the end, we interviewed 11 people in 2 days, back-to-back interviews. And as many of you know, we included in the process many people when we did the callback interviews because there was a ban on travel due to COVID, so it was a virtual synagogue visit where we took a deeper dive in examining the candidates, and they met with the board and many other members, did some teaching, they met with our Open Yad project, and we ultimately settled on a decision. But I want to tell you that in our application, there were a couple of things that we said we were looking for. The question was, what 3 qualities are most important to your congregation in a new assistant rabbi? And we said, we are looking for someone who can build quickly, significantly, and meaningful relationships with our members and supporters. So I'd say, check. We want someone who is open to learning and is curious about people. Check. We want someone who is thoughtful and demonstrates a collaborative work style. Check. We are hoping to find someone who has a musical background and song leading skills. Check, check. So when I went back and looked at what we said we were looking for, I realized we got exactly what we had asked for. And I think all of you can attest to that fact. I want to say that in his interview process, Ross expressed that, you were Ross at the time that we interviewed, not Rabbi yet. He expressed the desire for strong mentorship with a senior rabbi, and I think he gets that. What I don't think you expected was the mentorship that you get from the entire congregation. We have a lot to offer, a lot to teach. We're so diverse, we're open, warm, and loving, and I think that that's been demonstrated by all of you in welcoming Rabbi Levy to our congregation. And so I just want to close saying that I'm delighted to be here tonight to share this joyous occasion with you. We look forward to learning from you, you sharing your wisdom, for being there for us for our pastoral needs in happiness and in joy. And I want to wish you much success. And I was very honored. Rabbi described this as sacred work, and I kind of was like, not really. But as we got through the process, I realized how important it was to all of us. And I hope everyone joins me in congratulating and welcoming Rabbi Levy.
Amen. Ah, wow, awesome. For those of you online, it's a standing ovation. We're going to go to the. So we were really hoping. I'm going to come back here, although I might be too short. I don't know. Travis, we're good. Okay. We should acknowledge that Rabbi Dr. Jan Katsu, who is a professor at our Cincinnati campus of Hebrew Union College, which was the campus where Ross went to rabbinical school, of course, was supposed to be here with us this weekend. And he sent his regrets. They had a family health issue. Then they had to go take care of the grandchildren. You know how that works. Or maybe you don't know yet. We'll find out. Some of you know. That's true. And so we're delighted. I've known Rabbi Katsu for many years. He's an outstanding Jewish educator. He is someone who has shaped Jewish teaching and teaching teachers how to be better Jewish teachers to our children and to adults. Was a mentor of Rabbi Levy while he was a student at Hebrew Union College, and we have, as you all know, we've had a long history of relationship with our seminary and our campus here in Los Angeles. Of course, Kathy Weiss is here, and she's the Western Regional Director for Development for our college and student. And you might not know that our own executive director, Marka Gay, ran as the operations officer of Hebrew Union College for 18 years before she came, all 4 campuses. And of course, we've had rabbinical students for many years, multiple decades here at Kol Ami. And so we are, and also now we have an educational resident, and Eliana, where are you, Eliana? You're here. Eliana is also a student at Hebrew Union College in the education program. So we're very tied to Hebrew Union College. It is part of our dues to the Reform Movement go to support Hebrew Union College when we pay our dues to the URJ, the Union for Reform Judaism. So tomorrow, Rabbi Katsu will be with us live for tour study at 10 a.m. by the magic of Zoom, and tonight by the magic of recording. I think it should work.
I had every hope of joining you in person as we celebrate Shabbat and consecrate the sacred relationship between Rabbi Ross Levy and Congregation Kol Ami. But to echo the words of Jacob in this week's Torah portion, Vayishlach, Katonti, Mikol HaChasadim uMikol HaEmet, Asher Asita et Avdecha. I'm so small, unworthy of all the acts of kindness and trust that you, God, have shown me. I have again been reminded that only God can be certain. Every other being lives with possibility and hope. I hope to meet you face to face in the future. Until then, I am grateful for the technology that enables us to connect and share the joy that comes with every Shabbat, and the added joy that comes with this particular Shabbat, the joy that is the Torah of Rabbi Ross Levy. The role of the rabbi continues to evolve, and yet there are at least 2 core competencies of every rabbi, sacred responsibilities that are epitomized on the smichot, the ordination certificates of rabbis across Jewish time and Jewish spaces that reach and nourish every branch of the tree of Jewish life. Yore Yore, Yadin Yadin, for a rabbi who identifies as male, and Toreh, Toreh, Tadin, Tadin, for a rabbi who identifies as female. Teach, teach, judge, judge are actions that animate the soul of a rabbi. A rabbi is first and foremost a teacher, and embedded in the instruction, Yore Yore, or Toreh Toreh, is a portrait of what it means to be a teacher of Torah. The word's triliteral root, Yud, Resh, He, comes from the word to shoot or to aim. The root is shared by the Hebrew word for parent, Horeh or Horah, which adds a dimension of caring, discipleship, and perhaps even love in the relationship between a teacher and a learner. A teacher, like a vector, has both magnitude and direction. Teachers know where they are headed, and teachers have a love for learning that can only be exceeded by their love for learners. Teachers have a plan, not a fixed program of indoctrination, but a clear purpose of instruction that is subject to adaptation in the moment, depending upon the needs of the learning community. Rabbis are leaders who have a Torah to teach. In the book, God Was in This Place and I did not know it, Rabbi Lawrence Kushner wrote, every person has a Torah, unique to that person, his or her innermost teaching. Some seem to know that Torah very early in life and speak and sing it in myriad ways. Others spend their whole lives stammering, shaping, and rehearsing it. Some are long, some are short, some are intricate and poetic, others are only a few words, and still others can be spoken through gesture and example. But every soul has a Torah. To hear another person say Torah is a precious gift. So, what is it that is in Rabbi Ross Levy's Torah? I feel privileged and blessed to have served as one of Ross's teachers, dare I say, one of Ross's rabbis, while he was a rabbi in formation at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in Cincinnati. I remember vividly the first class in which I met him, education. He made an immediate impression as a serious student, someone with a balance of chutzpah and humility, willing to take a stand and also willing to take a knee. In one class session, we studied a passage from the Babylonian Talmud, tractate Baba Batra, about Yehoshua ben Gamla, who is credited with saving Judaism because he created a school system that made it possible for education to be democratized, initially for males aged 6 to 16 in the first century of the Common Era. Considering that it took the United States until 150 years ago to make education available and to make it indeed a mandate for all children, it is astounding that education has been integrated into the DNA of the Jewish people for more than 2,000 years. Even more remarkable is the fact that one of the 3 recipients of the 2021 Nobel Prize in Economics, Dr. Joshua Engrist from MIT, who is married to Mira Engrist, a Jewish educator with whom I worked for more than a decade, used that very text from the Talmud in one of his real-world experiments. The sages taught that once there were more than 40 students in a class, the community had to engage a second teacher and divide the class. Rambam, Maimonides, quoted this text in his authoritative code of Jewish practice, the Mishnah Torah, and it has been the standard in the state of Israel to this very day. Professor Engrist studied the impact of this educational practice in Israel and it was one of the experiments that contributed to his selection as a Nobel laureate. I think very highly of Ross, but I'm not necessarily predicting that he will receive a Nobel Prize. However, I know that Ross loves to learn at least as much as he loves to teach. Ahavat Torah, a love for learning and teaching, is what animates Ross's soul. That love helps to make Ross Levy a rabbi. HUCJIR can only determine whether a person has fulfilled the academic, clinical, pastoral, ethical, and spiritual criteria to become a rabbi. It is within the power of each one of you to determine whether a rabbi can become your rabbi, your trusted teacher of Torah. Our sages teach, Aselech Rav, Asilach Rabbah. Make a rabbi for yourself. You are empowered to make Ross Levy one of your rabbis. In Jewish life, just as there is no vicarious atonement, there is no vicarious fulfillment. I cannot Jew for you, and you cannot Jew for me. A rabbi can become your rabbi only through building a relationship of kavod hadadi, of mutual trust and respect. I have grown to trust and respect Ross Levy not only as a rabbi, but also as one of my rabbis, and I hope you will decide to do the same. A love for teaching is a necessary qualification for being a rabbi, but it is not sufficient. Yadin, yadin, tadin, tadin. Another fundamental aspect of a life of a rabbi involves the courage and the compassion to make judgments. In a juridical context, for centuries, rabbis have served as judges on batei din, on courts that decide civil and criminal cases within the Jewish community based on halakha, which is often translated as law in English. But halakha is more than law. Halakha is a way of being, a way of moving in the world, not only as a law-abiding citizen, but also as a moral beacon, an ethical exemplar who strives not only to be worthy, but also to be holy. When Jews were invited to participate in modernity, some left halakha behind them and never looked back. Others claimed to be the arbiters and even, dare I say, the owners of halakha, and to this day, they do their utmost to preserve it, which sadly also has meant that halakha has become fixed and lifeless rather than dynamic and responsive to evolving cultural and social norms. Still others have tried to animate halakha with a new soul that listens to all genders, that insists on democratizing the process of creating halakha by challenging its operating assumptions. Halakha was largely formed when Judaism was a condition, not an option. When Jews, in the words of Yehuda Halevi, were despised. Times have changed, and halakha has not, or to be charitable, has not changed enough. Rabbis in liberal Jewish contexts may not be bound by halakha, but that need not mean that we relinquish our responsibility to serve as judges outside of a rabbinical court. Yes, there is a vestige of yadin, yadin, tadin, tadin, in the context of participating as a member of a beit din to certify and sanctify the celebration of a person who has chosen to embrace and adopt Judaism. However, The process of making judgments transcends the rituals that surround conversion. Mishnah Avot lays out the optimal manner for judging human beings. Vehevei dan et kol ha'adam lechaf zechut. Judge a whole person by leaning to the side of merit, by giving the benefit of the doubt. Think for a moment of how different our world would be if all of us lived up to that standard. Deen, justice, requires diyun, deliberation. Deciding to give everyone the benefit of the doubt requires developing dispositions, soul traits, midot, such as empathy, forgiveness, and humility. Rabbi Ross Levy not only exhibits ahavat Torah, a love of Torah, he also manifests ahavat habriot, a love of people, and together those loves are integral to being a rabbi. But there is more. Lo tov heyot adam levado. Torah teaches that it is not good for a person to be alone. To be good, to thrive, a rabbi needs a mentor, and a rabbi needs partners. Without you, Rabbi Eger, and without you, Congregation Kol Ami, Rabbi Levy cannot realize his rabbinic potential or live his Torah. As in the first Psalm, may Rabbi Ross Levy flourish in this sacred community, Ashrei Ha'ish. May he find happiness. May he feel at home spiritually. May his love for Torah and his love for people find room to be nurtured and to grow. May he remain curious and humble as he aspires to internalize the words Yore, Yore, Yadin, Yadin, that are indeed written on his smicha, his ordination certificate, and inscribe them in his Torat Chaim, the Torah that he loves, and translate it into the Torah that he lives. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will. Ken Yehi Ratzon Kehilatchem. May this be the will of your congregation. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Now you know.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm actually very grateful for that pause because it's hard to find the words to express the joy and the trepidation that I feel in this moment. And for many of you, I'm sure that's shocking. A rabbi with no words. And so I take note from our prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah, in which we find a beautiful passage that begins with, I begin with a prayer of gratitude. So I will begin with my own prayer of gratitude. As Rabbi Katsu mentioned in his address, this week's Torah portion, Vayishlach, includes a beautiful moment of humility on the part of our ancestor Jacob. Katonti mikol hachasadim umikol ha'amet she'asita et avdecha. I am humbled. Literally, I am made small by the kindnesses that you have shown me. I, like Jacob, am so incredibly humbled by the many chasadim, the many forms of kindness, love, and support. So many of you here, and so many of you joining online. I am humbled by the love and the support of my family, my parents Randy and Ralph, and my sister Ronnie, who are here in person, as well as my sister Risa, my brother-in-law Chris, and my two nieces Audrey and Margot, who may or may not be watching, but it's well past their bedtime, so I hope not. I am humbled by the beautiful words and the blessing of my teacher and my friend, Rabbi Dr. Jan Katsu. Thank you, Rabbi, for the Torah you have taught me and continue to teach me. I am humbled by the mentorship and guidance of our senior rabbi, Rabbi Denise Egger. Thank you, Rabbi Egger, for your faith in me, for believing me even at times when I struggle to believe in myself. I am grateful for all that you have taught me already and the immense amount of Torah that you will continue to teach me in the coming years. And most of all, I am humbled by you, Congregation Kol Ami, for the faith and the trust you have placed in me to be your next assistant rabbi. Over the past few months, I've had the honor and privilege to connect and meet many of you, and I am in continual awe of this incredible community, the depth with which you care for one another and for the world that we share. The College Institute may have granted me the authority to teach and to judge, but I am so grateful for the opportunity for you all to teach me, to share your Torah with me so that I can continue to learn and continue to grow. In my application materials, I spoke of my desire to grant everyone the tools to navigate the rich, diverse tradition we've inherited as Jews. And I could not have known that during my first Shabbat here at Congregation Kol Ami, Rabbi Egger would offer a teaching that gave voice to this desire in a way that I could not. She cited the teaching of Rav Avraham Yitzchak HaKohen Kook, often known as Rav Kook, the first chief rabbi of the British Mandate of Palestine in the early 20th century, who wrote that in this new age, Hayeshan Yitchadesh v'Hechadash Yitkadesh. The ancient shall be made new again, and the new shall be made holy. Let us engage in this process together. Let us breathe life into the ancient teachings of our tradition so that it is made new. And let us embrace that newness to make our lives, our community, and our world that much more holy. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to invite the members of the search committee that are here tonight, Andrew and Peter and Leonard and Evan, and I don't know if Nancy made it, but if you're here, Leonard, if you'll join us up here on the bima. We're going to offer a blessing for our rabbi, and you all are going to participate in it. If you'll get your bulletins, and the inside is the prayer for Rabbi Levy, and where it says C, that means congregation. So where it says C, we're going to have responsive reading for that, and we're going to can you all wrap this around Rabbi Levy? I think we're all too short to to do that. So if you all will stand around him and wrap the talit around him, stand around. If you rise as the ark is open, stand over here behind him. There you go. Ross, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, bless and sustain Rabbi Ross Levy. Together, grant. Give. Of Jewish learning and spirituality and community. And may he be blessed with insight and inspiration as he contributes to Jewish learning and practice. We welcome you, Rabbi Ross Levy, as our rabbi. And together let us say, Amen. Mazel tov. Sorry. Please be seated. Peter, you want to say a few words now and do your announcements? We're going to invite Peter back up as president of our Board of Trustees to share a few words also, and words of thanks for so many people who have helped make tonight possible. Peter, did I give them to you? Oh, good, I gave them to you. Phew. Sorry, I'll get out of your way. Yes, you have to move that up and use that.
As I was entering the sanctuary this afternoon, walking first through the open doors and then into our sanctuary, I was reminded that the reason why we are here tonight is precisely why we exist. 28 and a half years ago, a few of us got together to create a special place where everybody who gets to walk through those front doors has a sense of hope and security and love, has a sense of understanding, has a sense of liturgical alignment or liturgical disalignment. But anybody who walks through our front doors knows that they are home. And Rabbi Levy, we thank you for walking through our front doors with us. And now on to Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. As Rabbi Yeager said, my name is Peter Mackler, and I have the great honor and distinction of serving as president of Congregation Kol Ami. We want to wish you, of course, a Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov to Rabbi Levy, and welcome to his family. Randy, Lonnie, and Ralph, welcome. Mazel Tov also to Dora Lotus, Carlos Colon, and Matthew Rabin on formally choosing Judaism. Thank you to our many sponsors of tonight's oneg. The pre-neg, this is the first time we've said the word neg in 2 years. That's pretty significant. Flowers and services in honor of Rabbi Levy. Thank you to our golden sponsors, Lauren Ostro and Brian Newkirk, Eugene Kopolowski, Bart Kogan. Our flower sponsors, Matthew Adler and Gregory Weinberg. Our music sponsors, Randy and Ralph Levy. Thank you. Our pre-neg sponsors, Isaac and Stella Adler, Joshua Bloxham, Rabbi Denise Egger, and Rabbi Eleanor Steinman. Yours truly, Richard Wortman and David Schreibner. And thank you to our streaming sponsors. So those of you in TV land, thank Carrie Davidson and Andrew Ogilvy. Rabbi was right, it's a grand list. Our Torah study sponsors, Ed Kaysen, Solomon Lemons, Duke Marin, Andrew Stein, Andrew White, Alan Weisbart, and Yaffa Hughes, Rabbi Levy Transition Committee. And thank you to those who have made a contribution toward this very special Shabbat. Our installation weekend sponsors, Todd Cohn, our treasurer, Evan Cohn, Ronnie Elise Levy, Robert Elliott Stein, Mei Ling Wu, and John Hickok, and Martha Rosette. And of course, to our annual Shabbat streaming sponsors. We thank you. Toda Rabah. Tomorrow, please join us on Zoom at 10 o'clock in Pacific time for our Torah study with our special guest lecturer and teacher, Rabbi Dr. Jan Katsu. This will be on Zoom only, and you had a little bit of a taste here. This was the appetizer. Tomorrow morning will be the grand meal. Transgender Day of Remembrance will be observed at Kol Ami on Friday night, November 26th, with guest speaker Sharon Brown, who's the president of Crystal Street West, the organization responsible for LA's Pride Parade and Festival, and head of HR for the LGBT Center. This Shabbat will be online only at 6:30 p.m. This is a little tough. World AIDS Day is December 1st, the fourth night of Hanukkah. Kol Ami will commemorate and remember at 7 p.m. here in the sanctuary Dr. Michael Gottlieb, who 40 years ago wrote the first report on AIDS in 5 patients, will deliver our keynote at our interfaith observance. And we will have time. We will have time to remember our loved ones and celebrate the resilience of our long-term survivors. A section of the AIDS Memorial quilt is on display here. And thank you, Rabbi Egger, for always arranging for that. Join us for the 4th night of Hanukkah in person. Our Hanukkah candle campaign is ready for you to light up the world. Help us dedicate each night of Hanukkah to a different Jewish value. Donate or sponsor the candle to help us bring these values into the world. Let us all, each of us, be the light. Go to kolami.org/candle to make your donation and support our annual Hanukkah candle campaign. And as always, we hope you'll keep up to date on all that is happening at Congregation Kol Ami by visiting our website often. Wait. Okay. Now, in honor of the Levy family, so that they remember how to get in touch with us. Okay? It's KOL-AMI.org. That's kol-ami.org. Did you get that? You want me to repeat it? You can register for all our online programs. Thank you for being with us tonight. Mazel tov to Rabbi Levy. Mazel tov to our converts this evening. And Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
I'm just going to say a word. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, it's good. Just a quick word of thanks to Marka Gay and her staff who... Marka, we are indebted. I am indebted to you every single day for your work, for your dedication, for your friendship and your spirit. She's who makes this all happen, and so we really owe her great gratitude. So thank you so much to your staff for making this so special tonight and every day so special. Our members, we have many members of our board here tonight. If you would just take a moment to stand, our board members who are here. Almost all of our board is here tonight. Shout out to online to David Glickman and Greg Factor, who were unable to be with us, and I think Neil Romanoff had to leave, but we're so glad you're all here and to see you all in person. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Marilyn, for taking over the slide duties. I'm very, very grateful for that. Past board member, the president that got away. Okay. On that note, we have a note. Are you going to share a piece of music at this point?
Sure. So you may have noticed that the melody we opened the service with and did during silent prayer may have been unfamiliar to many of you. It's actually a piece that I wrote. You can find the words to it in your inserts. And it comes from Psalm 146, which is usually recited during the daily liturgy. It's been a long night. And we read, Ahalala Adonai b'chayai, I will praise God, praise the Eternal throughout my life. Azamra lelohai be'odi, I will sing to my God with everything that I have, with my entire existence. And the beautiful thing about Hebrew, particularly poetry, is it can have many different meanings. And so the way that I've interpreted that passage is that through the way that I live my life, through the way that we all live our lives, that is a way of singing praises to God, as a way of gratitude to the source of the universe that enabled us to be here, to come together as a community, and to create this amazing energy that we've created together. So please join along as you pick up the melody. I'm really excited to share it with you.
can clap. It's okay. For those of you using the prayer book, we're turning to page 586 for the Aleinu L'Shabeach. Would you rise as the ark is opened?
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'ateit gedula le'otzer reshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adam, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
On this Shabbat, we're observing the yortzites of Abe Gittek, father of Lenny Gittek, Sally Bernstein Pico, mother of Samuel Bernstein Shore, Ruth Green, mother of Rose Green, Martin Ross, husband of Elaine Ross, father of Richard and Cheryl Ross, David Sand, friend of John Altschul, Leonard Klein, father of Don Klein, and Margaret Gohari on this first anniversary of her death, sister of Jacob Gibsman, whose yortzite plaques are now lit in loving remembrance. We're also recalling the yortzites of Regina Habib, grandmother of David Kaminsky, Neela Mia, friend of Richard Frank, Arnold Silverman, father of Harvey Silverman, Al Bernstein, grandfather of Michael Silverman, Usher Drillman, grandfather of Natalie Bergman, Minnie Glickman, grandmother of David Glickman, Michelle Edelman, cousin of Barry Edelman, Jeff Murray, brother of Murray Blank, Martha Lank, grandmother of Jane Drucker, Louis Weiner, father of Robert Weiner, Sylvia Letterfine, aunt of Stephanie Small, Arnold Stone, cousin of Stephen Weiss, Sandra Epstein, mother of Francine Epstein, Tom Royer, husband of Ira Schlesinger, Ronald Behrens, former father-in-law of Lisa Freed, Gail Friedman, friend of Lisa Freed, and Annette Levy-Radkin, grandmother of Rabbi Levy and mother of Ralph Levy. And we've been reciting Kaddish this year for Roberto Martinez, Robert Weems, Adele Habibi, Sarah Klein, Francis Schiff, Erlyn Ehrlich McCauley, Muriel Steicher, Marie Celia Rouveau, Ava Weinberger, Sandra Smith, Jack Ader, Esther Richmond, Mary Wilson, Josh Markowitz, Vincent Gabriel, Steve Boardman, Fred Michaels, Claude Casalino, Jeb Stewart Robertson, Barbara Rubin, Jill Dowler, Allison Schurz, Rochelle Kaminsky, Alan Eckoby, Gary Rosenfeld, Stephen May, Herbert Link, Jack Salzberg, Paul Rush, Hanu Lashi, Michael Epstein, Marvin Keller, Mark Levin, Rick Gould, Erwin Sonny Citron, Don Eugene Robbins, Paul Morgan Fredericks, Paula Tabor, Ann Pendo, Muriel Stein, Linda Bacleon. We note with sadness the death this past week of Reuben Ibarro, husband of Eric Gordon, and Marianne Waxner, mother of Robin Waxner. There are others that you would like to recall tonight in our Kaddish prayer, or please say their name aloud at this time. And for those of you online with us, feel free to say their name aloud or write their name in the chat on Facebook or YouTube as we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598, or above you on the screen. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba mevarach le'olam omei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei b'kudashah b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushachata v'nechemata, damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all of us who mourn and all of us who've been bereaved, and together let us say, Amen.
We'll conclude with the final line of our Kaddish prayer, Ose Shalom Bimromav.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Well, I don't know. I give thanks for Rabbi Levy tonight. And I give thanks to his family for schlepping so far. And I give thanks to our wonderful musicians who have filled up our place. And I give thanks for Travis, who helps me every week to make sure the people at home can see us and hear us. And I give thanks to all of you for being here, whether online and being here in person to celebrate. We need more reasons to celebrate together. It's been hard. It's been really hard for a long time. And when we come together as safely as we can, we build a different kind of world. Today was not a good day. A young man escaped punishment for something that he did. And I wasn't going to leave here tonight without saying one word before we leave. We hold ourselves to a high standard as a Jewish people, and we know right from wrong. And we have to take the values that we've talked about and prayed about tonight and go out in the world and make the change and bring down the tzedek, the justice that this world's need for everyone, for everyone. And so we say, Baruch atah b'voecha, Baruch atah b'tzeitecha. You are blessed here by coming here tonight. Be blessed as you go forth into the world and into Shabbat to do good things, to do great things, to bring holiness, to bring joy, oneg, as we've sung about, to bring blessing into the world. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos. Thank you for celebrating with us. Thank you for being with us online, at home. We hope to see you online next week. Services will only be online next week. Shabbat shalom, everyone.